Hey there, everybody. I am checking in with you all. As many of you know, I'm in Santa Fe doing Susan Lynn's conference, having a ball. I hope we can get together and maybe do a collective video for you all. I think you might enjoy that. Did a workshop this morning, about to do another one. Never hide your magic. Doing some work on magic, having a ball. But I wanted to jump on here. It's Friday. I wanted to jump on here real quick and talk to you all a little bit. Let's go to Spirit. Like this Epstein situation, just like Spirit said all along, like we've known, it was just a matter of time before it would not be denied. That is something that will not be denied. So, but here's the thing. So I understand, I've been running around doing some other stuff. You all get in the comments if I'm missing a step or two. But I understand that Megyn Kelly had the gall to come out and try and justify, sort of, by differentiating the difference between Epstein, perps with, say, a 5 or 8-year-old versus a 15 or 16-year-old. Excuse me. And where is the collective outrage for her complete removal from any media platform ever again from now until eternity, right? I mean, I'm like GTFOH regarding her. But I do want to take a look and see if in fact finally, because again, Spirit's been saying this is going to be such they've shown the tower card keeps coming up repeatedly around anything that touches this administration and or media figures, especially with so many media figures who have come under fire, who have literally been let go, who have been you know the stories. So Spirit, is this it for Megyn Kelly? Remember, she was in some trouble before. Didn't she have a show on a network and she opened her mouth the wrong way before and got in trouble? But see what she was doing, you all. Remember, Spirit said in some of my readings before that you were going to start to see, or we were going to start to see this twist and this sort of try to justify it's not quite as bad as it looked, because they knew that it was just a matter of time before we saw the actual, the deal. All right, bottom of the deck after I shuffle is the Knight of Wands. It has caught fire. This situation, more and more information is coming out, and this ain't even the half of it, right? We still haven't seen the photographs, and we will see those at some point. We're still getting the leaked emails. All right, the one that just came out about apparently, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark, wrote something involving Steve Bannon with a question about Putin and did something about Trump with somebody named Bubba? What in the world? All right. It's going to get thicker and thicker. Spirit, is Megyn Kelly, is this it? Like, is she one of the first? Because that's what I'm feeling. It ain't even just about her. It's the Three of Wands. Yeah. This is going to start. This is not just going to be the cart being tumbled and the tower in action with this administration, but this is also the enablers. This is, Steve Bannon was panicked a couple of weeks ago, saying if 2026 goes the wrong way, we could wind up not just him, we could wind up in prison. And, he's all up in the thick of it. We're hearing the Deepak Chopra and, the other people. There's going to be a lot of people embarrassed and potentially prosecuted as a result of this. But judgment, Megyn's done. She may still get some play on some far right nonsensical thing, but any sense of respectability, even in the MAGA-verse, in the media MAGA-verse, she's done. She's toast. She's out of here. And what Spirit is saying is that should serve as a reminder to those who are going to scramble to try, as more of this information is leaked, and they try to scramble to try and find some, to smooth the rough edges, to ease the shock of it. And try and make that differentiation. Spirit said it was coming, that children, 15, 16, 14-year-old children, that they were going to try and cast that light as if they were somehow older, consenting, that it wasn't quite as bad as it seems. So thanking Spirit for that truth, but still the horror of it is, and anybody, Megyn Kelly on down, who's trying to get out there and run that card and play that tune, it ain't gonna happen. All right, you all. We're seeing some things around Brett Kavanaugh, right? Now, not surprised, but I do think this is going to touch SCOTUS. And I think we've talked about that. And I think some of you have reckoned this is going to touch SCOTUS. I think a lot of people thought the obvious, perhaps for entertainment purposes only. I'm in a hotel, so I don't have my sign. I got to say it for entertainment purposes only. Nobody was going to be surprised to see old boy Clarence Thomas show up, right? Maybe a couple of others. But there we remember those confirmation hearings around Brett Kavanaugh. We remember the accusations. We remember how they closed ranks to make sure that he was going to get through no matter what. Spirit, are we going to see this reach into the ranks of SCOTUS? And there will have to be some sort of, I don't even know what the process is, you all, like grounds for removal. Like, what do you do when it hits the highest court of the land? Are we going to see some exposure around Brett Kavanaugh? I've got the Eight of Swords. Oh, he's scared as he can be. He is trembling. I.e., in other words, there's something to be concerned about. I'm going to see something around Kavanaugh. The high priestess going to try everything in the book to try and cover it up. But it's going to come to light. Kavanaugh. Because, a lot of what I'm hearing is a lot of what, and there's judgment again. What a lot of what this has been in terms of the delay has been because of the people outside of Canks, the other people, so many other people in the financial world, in business, in the courts. There are so many other people that they thought, okay, Canks thought, you're going to go along with me on this, right? Because I'm not the only one that's going to go down, just like Steve Bannon hooping and hollering about the 2026 elections, right? We got to make sure this goes our way or else we're in trouble. So it's in this, we're in this together. So we need you. I think that's what a lot of this money has been about. All of these corporations bowing and bending the knee, funding his ballroom, funding, whatever, all of these other things, because they knew this and the Five of Pentacles, they are fracturing. And everybody's going to start to feel like an island unto themselves. My butt's on the line. How do I save myself? So is mine. How do I save myself? I got to save myself. So I can't step up and do anything to help you. That's where we are, you all. And that's what's going to continue to happen. The next thing to close out, I want to keep this one short because I got to get back to work. But I did want to check in with you all. I'm so glad to be here with you. And I miss you doing our regular thing. So we hear now that the Georgia election interference case is back on, right? That thing went crazy, with the whole Fani Willis situation. And a lot of people thought he was dead in the water. Here's where that's interesting. This lawyer, Pete Skandalakis, attorney in Fulton County. Apparently he was tasked with trying to find an attorney who would take over for Fani Willis, they're not going to deal with her anymore on that case. That's done. So they were trying to find another attorney who would step up. Nobody wanted to step up and take it. So this Pete Skandalakis said, that's fine then, rather than let it go bye-bye, because that's what could have happened. They couldn't find an attorney to pick the case back up, the election interference case against Canks, then it's done, right? So this Pete Skandalakis stepped up and said, all right then, if we can't find anybody else to do it, I'll do it myself. Because I'm not going to let the case get dismissed. This, from what I understand, Skandalakis was if I got it right, he was a Democrat turned Republican. All right. So they can't just, this is the radical left doing blah, blah, blah. No, apparently this guy has an interesting background politically, but he refused to let the case go away. Here's where I'm going to Spirit, and I think that where this is important. Remember that they have already, Canks issued those pardons to those election deniers, right? Sending the dog whistle. Guess what? It's going to be round 2. We got to do round 2 for 2026, and don't worry about prosecution. I got you back. This guy, I think, is sending a message, Pete Skandalakis, by keeping the case alive, the election interference case alive in Georgia. He's saying, hold your horses, because interference is a crime. And certainly at the state level, regardless of what the feds might do, the federal level, you can still be held accountable. Spirit is the election interference case. I'm being told 2 different things. One is that case going forward. It will, but I'm hearing slow, 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 drip, drip, drip. But the underlying message, will this have an impact on what happens specifically in Georgia and other states by virtue of that, right? Around people who sign up to 2026 to try and help them. The Ten of Pentacles. This is the numbers of people who would have jumped on that ship with him. Okay, we got your back. We'll do whatever's necessary to make sure we still nail down 2026. But as this other house of cards continues to crumble around the Epstein files, and now this case is staying open in Georgia, that they are being told, and there's the Three of Swords. They're like, I don't know if I want to be the one to wind up holding the bag when all this is done. Right? I don't think so. Pardons or no pardons, potential pardons at that. No guarantees. Just we're supposed to jump on board because we're all a part of this. We're in this together, and it's not going to work that way. And we have the Queen of Wands. I think that messaging is going to get carried by somebody. In other words, this, even though, and it may even be Fani, even though Fani's not on the case any longer, it could be that she'll certainly speak out regarding it. She did so much work on it. I'm sure she has to be working with this Pete Skandalakis on some level in consultation or whatever to turn the case over to him. I think that is Fani we're seeing in that Queen of Wands. And the Two of Swords, conflict on top of conflict. And I also think that is in terms of the progress of this case, of the election interference case in Georgia. So it's not, there's so many other things that are happening right now, you all. I don't see that case in and of itself, progressing at a fast clip, at a fast pace, but there is going to be a conflict among people in the state of Georgia and especially other swing states who are going to be pressured in 2026 to do whatever they got to do to make those tabulations be whatever they need to be. That's the conflict. Watch. All right, you all. I got to go do my thing. Talk to, never hide your magic. I appreciate you. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Hype it if you can. If you feel so inclined, it really does help my reach. And I will check in with you all a little bit later. Mwah. Chin up. You know how we do it. Chin up and our shoulders back. And remembering always to come from our heart. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.